Once every generation, there comes an event that alters how we perceive our world. That changes our expectations of what is possible. This is not really one of those events. But hey, Toxic Radio has a brand new studio, and that fucking rocks. So join us in celebrating our excellent new home. Toxic Radio. Awesomer than ever before. What? That is so a word.
Hey, buddy. Rah. Hey, man, that's a sweet heavy metal happy hour t-shirt. Where'd you pick that up?
Thanks, dude. I got it at the Toxic Radio shop.
Toxic Radio has a shop?
Yeah, dude. It's in the app or online at toxicradio.net.
That is sweet.
Yeah, and I also got a rockin' Toxic Radio hoodie and a Red Band Underground shirt. Dude, I'm gonna look so rockin' at the party tomorrow.
Well, I think you look pretty now.
Oh, wait, what?
The Toxic Radio shop is a place to get all your Toxic Radio gear. Shirts, hoodies, stickers. Find it at toxicradio.net or on the app. Don't buy it safe. Buy it toxic. Hey, where you going, man?
Enjoying all that Toxic Radio has to offer? Well, make sure you like and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Be the first to find out about ticket giveaways, amazing guests, awesome contests, and Toxic Radio events. Just search Toxic Radio Live, all one word, and press that little button. Every time you do, someone here at Toxic Radio will get their wings.
Yay!
Well, not really.
Aww.
But we will get a warm, fuzzy feeling in our tummies. But then again, that just might be the beer. Anyway, like and follow us, and we will see you out there on the interwebs.
Hungry for Hope Nation, we are live. I'm your host, Reckless Donnie Hart, and I am joined by my co-host. Co-host, do your thing. Big time!
Tim Gorgeous. And once again, that weekly introduction was brought to you by Ray's Energy Drink. This week's flavor of the week, Galaxy Burst. It's like a shooting star in your mouth. Repsports.com to order. Big time. Big time is the coupon code. All proceeds go to Hungry for Hope's nonprofit.
Tim, I have no idea what you just said, but that was awesome. And we have our guests here. We have the Queen of Controversy. I gave her that name. I think her name was the Queen of Harm Reduction, also named, but I gave her the Queen of Controversy name. We have Destinie Campanella. Destiny, welcome to the show.
Hi, Donnie. Thank you for having me back.
Having you back, that's so cool. That's the first time I heard anybody say that. You were on our show 1 year ago. You were on one of our first episodes.
Mm-hmm.
You and I always tell people this show was built on you and Bill L. Wingador Simmons.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. It was both. I can't give not one of you more credit than the other. It was like both. They were like our first two shows, really. You know, we had like a pilot episode or whatever you call it. But you came on this show and you killed it.
Thank you.
We talked. We did the Narcan. We talked about your harm reduction.
Mm-hmm.
On this episode, we're bringing you on for the community spotlight. We're just spotlighting people in the community who are doing great things. And you hit all them pointers. You're doing great things in the community, Des.
Thank you.
You also, we're going to be talking a lot about, you run, I think, the first of its kind in South Philly, the Suicide Loss Group.
Yes.
Tell us about that before, we get this thing going. Tell us,
okay.
What is it? Because that's like the main thing I really wanted to bring on. We've been doing a lot about mental health and addiction, and all this goes hand in hand, I feel like, with suicide.
Absolutely. So I'm a member of the Philadelphia Suicide Prevention Task Force. That is through DBH IDS. And I'm surprised they still let me back to those task force meetings because I'm brutally honest, to be honest. So it's currently under construction. But one of the wonderful outcomes that came of the Suicide Prevention Task Force was the first ever survivor of suicide loss group in South Philadelphia. There was one way far out in the Northeast somewhere. To my knowledge, I'm not sure whatever happened to it. But so this is the first of its kind in South Philly. They chose me to facilitate the group because they wanted somebody with lived experience, because I did lose my fiance Joe to suicide around 7 years ago. So I have that experience where I'm able to connect with people on a more personal level. So I couldn't have done this without Kate Fox, who's listening tonight somewhere. So shout out Kate Fox. I love and appreciate you so much. She really helped get the group going, flew me out to Chicago, and I trained for the group through American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. And I kind of made my own twist. The group meets every second Wednesday of the month. But so what started happening was that, because like I said, this is the first of its kind, and I should first also mention that suicide is a very complex grieving process. As you know, and we can talk more about this later, I had 3 very significant losses. Suicide is very different because somebody makes that decision, and all situations are different, but a lot of people make that decision to take their own life. A lot of people, it's common to find their loved ones, as I did. A lot of people, leave letters, don't leave letters. My fiance left me a letter that was dated the day before he completed. This was very planned out. 2 weeks after he passed, I had an appointment to, go to visit my where I was having my wedding reception. So it was like very shocking. So there's a lot of different emotions, and that's why there's separate groups for people who are grieving suicide loss. But like I said, because it was the only one around, it was only once a month. People were traveling to come visit my group, and I do this totally voluntary, which I like because I'm able to have connections and relationships with people outside of the group. So I said to Kate Fox, I said, we need more of these, like now. This is not enough, and we need more. So Kate helped me do a whole recruiting process, and she sat down with me, and we interviewed people, and she asked me, should we send these people to Chicago like you? And I said no, because I did not like the training I took. So what I did was I took bits and pieces of American Foundation for Suicide Prevention training, and I made a whole Destiny twist to that training. And I facilitated trainers, and we now have a couple additional groups, and hopefully we'll have more in the future.
The Destiny twist, I like that.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. So when you say this is all volunteer you do?
Yes, absolutely.
And yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Thank you.
We're gonna get into asking you questions about this and everything. We're gonna have me and Big Time for our community spotlight. We've been asking questions. We're going to relate your questions. You also do the harm reduction.
Yes.
You work for the city of Philly.
Yes.
Anybody who watched our episode with you before, I think it was harm reduction with Destiny, we called it.
Yes.
And, they learn a lot about your work for the city of Philly. You're in Kensington out there. We actually came and visited you.
Yeah, you came to my office.
I came to your office couple weeks ago, like a month ago.
Yeah.
We do some outreach. We've been doing it with the Hungry for Hope nonprofit. So we're going to talk some about that, but we're also going to ask you some questions about the suicide loss support group.
Okay.
So I'm going to start off the questions. Question number 1. Now this I'm going to put towards your support group. What's the one thing, Destiny, that you wish you had known when you began your suicide loss support group? Think it back now. What's one thing?
And I think I knew this, but not fully to the extent of the vicarious trauma. And for people who don't know what vicarious trauma is, that is secondary trauma. That's why I only do it once a month, and I was not willing to do it more. It's because you actually start to feel other people's grief, and it's like, what I do with that group is just hold space for people and I sit with them in their discomfort. And I know that's all I can do is provide that space for them to come cry and laugh in. But I know there's nothing I can truly do to bring back their loved one. And as a facilitator, that's really not a good feeling sometimes. So that's one thing I really wish I would have took more into consideration was all the vicarious or secondary trauma that I take home, especially if somebody has a very similar situation to mine. It could be very triggering and bring up a lot of my own grief process.
Yeah, that's amazing. I never dealt with suicide loss, but just dealing with the loss of my brother, I can, just having somebody there, that space, like you mentioned,
Yes.
that can be huge. We're gonna have Tim ask you the next question.
Next question is going to be a little bit geared more towards your career and harm reduction. So, what advice would you give someone that's wanting or looking to pursue a career in harm reduction similar to yours?
I cannot emphasize this one enough. Balance and boundaries, please. Because I've learned something recently. My supervisor just told me this and a light bulb went off. You're going to feel like you're doing so much, but it will never be enough. So please have that time and space to have boundaries and balance in your life, which is something that I'm still practicing.
Boundaries and balance. That's great advice.
Tim, that was good. We're gonna go to the next question. Back with Donnie here. What's the best resources that have helped you along the way with your suicide loss group?
You mean like for me personally, my grieving process?
No, the best resources that have helped you along the way with your group.
Like to promote it?
Yeah. Resources, like anything that have helped you along the way. Has there been anything that helped you with this group? I'm a horrible interviewer.
Like maybe if you like
Tim, help me. Hold up, we're going to Tim.
If you had questions or needed help with something, did you have a resource you could reach out to or look towards?
Okay, yeah. So for me personally, for my because it's rough. Boxing, huge.
Love it.
Boxing.
Here we go.
Hold up. Tell us about the boxing a little bit.
All right.
You said boxing. Hold up. I'm going to cut you off.
All right. Go ahead.
What's the boxing? Tell us how boxing. What's your connection with boxing?
A huge part of my. So I do identify with a person living with a mental health condition. I am a person living with PTSD, depression, and severe anxiety. Not moderate, severe. So boxing has been a major part of my healing process and journey because I'm sure people who are listening who, are people living with PTSD, you're on edge a lot of the time. You have a lot of anxiety. It's very difficult. And you go through these emotions sometimes where you're so angry and you're bitter, you're ready to lash out. So boxing just helped me so much to get out all that anger, anxiety. It has taught me discipline, self-control.
Anybody watching live, we got the picture. There's the queen of controversy in the ring. You used to train, and this was a great outlet for you.
Absolutely.
We joke, but this is something serious. The gym was always my outlet.
Yes.
That's something that really helped you with your...
absolutely. Tremendously.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So,
boxing helped me, too. When I was first getting sober, first in recovery, I was always at Witherspoon's boxing gym in Bristol, but it was, I completely agree, tremendous outlet. Yeah. But I'm going to jump into the next question for you. And then this is more geared towards you, right? It's not about the harm reduction or the suicide prevention. It's about you. It's who, if you can, 1 to 3 people maybe, who are the people that are most influential to you personally?
To me, personally, it's hard to not rope harm reduction into that because I would have to say, so definitely I have really close friends that have influenced me. My good friend Rohit supported me when no one else in the world did. Jen Bowles is another person who's not only a great friend to me, most intelligent person I know, but huge support. I have Brooke Feldman is another one. I consider her like more of like a mentor to me. I'm gonna have to also say my psychiatrist, although that sounds weird, but it really has been influential. My tattoo artist, Dan Kraft, puts influential things on me, and I just want to put that out there because I appreciate it.
Awesome.
I'm going to pass it back to Donnie.
That's awesome. Tattoo therapy been a little...
Absolutely.
That helped. I was actually sharing with you. We're going to have somebody on the show. We have so many guests, it's hard to keep track. We have so many booked for the next couple of months. We have somebody who's coming on, and they work with a nonprofit who helps vets. A lot of people came back from war and stuff. They give them tattoos as kind of like a therapy for their PTSD, and
That's awesome. I love
that kind of reminded me of the stuff you have talked about. Yeah, this dude's awesome, man. He's a good friend, and he helps with this nonprofit. But it's crazy. If we talk about the gym, boxing, there's all these outlets people can use. You know, you can use these, but at the end of the day, I still think you need to get I use some of these, but I didn't get the professional help, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be in the gym, I'd be, like, jacked up and thinking I'm good, but my head, the head's, like, the hardest thing I feel to really work out.
Yeah.
But definitely I recommend boxing and in the gym for people. And tattoos. Get tattoos.
Yeah, that's just part of it.
But, back to my interview skills.
Okay.
Here we go. Now, for this question, Destiny, you can go either way. I really want to hit on both your work in the harm reduction and your suicide support group, loss support group. So, either way you want to go, you can do both. What is one common myth about your profession or field that you want to debunk?
So I think for harm reduction, one of the most common myths is that I enable drug usage, which I absolutely do not. It's just practical. It's a thing. We're never going to eliminate it. I'm going to just say, hey, here's the risk of doing this, but there are safer ways to do that. So that is a huge myth. Also, I've been told by some people that you're just trying to save people. Maybe you have codependency. No, that's not what I'm trying to do. I don't have the belief I can save anybody. I sit with somebody during some of the darkest moments of their lives, and all I do is sit with them or walk with them on their journey. That's all without judgment. For the survivor to suicide loss group, it's still a very stigmatizing loss, as well as, overdose too. But that's something that I feel like is just a myth that, it was a selfish thing, why they do that, when really, like I said, there's a lot of different situations where people, sporadically do it, but people they're sick. They have, an illness.
That's great, man. I love all the different perspectives you bring from both of them. You good on that? Is there anything else you want to mention on that, or?
No, do you think I should mention anything else?
I'm just the interviewer.
I know, you're just the interviewer.
I'm just the interviewer. I'm not as smart as I look at this thing. I think we should go.
I mean, you don't look smart, but whatever.
Okay.
Big time. You're just, remember we had that discussion, what we're doing for the show. I said, you're going to ask a couple questions. That's all we're going to do.
Tim, do sports.
That's it. You know what? I'm hijacking the questions.
Go ahead.
No, what our next question. We're switching things up. I'm throwing a curveball in. We have Yanni the Greek. He is live. He's doing sports work for our show. But we're going to have Yanni the Greek ask question number 7. We want to get him in the mix. Let's go. Yanni the Greek, today you're an interviewer.
Sure, yeah. I didn't get an introduction, but that's all right. We'll just look past that.
Ask the question, kid.
If you could step into my shoes.
Good luck with that.
What would you have asked yourself that I did? I guess this is you asking the question.
If you could step into our shoes as an interviewer,
okay,
what would you have asked yourself, Destiny?
I think what I would ask myself is, what do I do for self-care? Because that's a word, since we're on the topic of mental health, that is a word like so many people I feel like throw around, and society has this image of self-care that it's me in a bubble bath surrounded by candles with wine. No, that's really not it. That's what society thinks it is. And sometimes for people it is. Or I'm out at the spa, spending all this money, getting a massage and my nails done. For me, self-care is I need to be in complete isolation and have no human contact because I need to very much recharge my batteries. And preferably, I'm probably watching serial killer documentaries or horror movies. That is my form of self-care.
That's awesome. I know we have a lot of listeners. They always ask. They asked last time, episode 4, over a year ago, or just about a year ago. But how can they connect with you on social media, the internet, if they want more information on either harm reduction, suicide prevention, or just reaching out? What would be the best ways to contact you social media-wise?
Yeah, so they're more than welcome to contact me via Facebook. I'm under Destinie Campanella. I know Donnie put my direct email address underneath the flyer, which is destiny.campanella@philly.gov. We also have www.phillynaloxone.com if you're interested in any of my virtual trainings. I provide virtual trainings on overdose awareness and reversal trainings. I provide trainings on how to use fentanyl testing strips. There's a lot of things that I'm currently working in, really cool projects. I'm sorry, not allowed to disclose just yet, but I'm working on several things, so keep an eye out for that. That could be found at phillynaloxone.com. And my Survivor to Suicide loss group can be found at Healthy Minds Philly, and I believe that is also in the notes for those that are watching via Facebook.
Yeah, Yanni the Greek is putting all that stuff, so all of our people tuning in, they're gonna be able to see it. We can even bring it up on the screen later too. Anything to help you, people reach out to you. And when we say this, don't reach out and ask Destiny how she's doing, what her favorite color is, if she likes long walks on the beach. I
appreciate that.
So yeah, we're gonna put up Philly. I can never say
naloxone. Naloxone.
And that's Narcan, basically, right?
Yeah, so you'll find all of our community partners if you're interested of what naloxone or Narcan is, if you're interested to request a private training through me, if you're interested to taking one of the virtual ones. You can also find a plethora of other information on, harm reduction services.
We'll put both websites up live so people could see them whenever we get to them. There's it right there. That's the proper website. People can go on and check it out.
Yes, it is.
That's pretty cool stuff, man. Toxic Radio, they got it going on here.
They do. So high tech.
This new studio is amazing. Jamie and Mike are the real deal. I can't, we can't do this without them. It's amazing to see us here, a year later in this bigger, nicer studio, more viewers, more support. It keeps on growing. That's what it's all about. But I got a couple more questions for you, Destiny. You're not off the hook yet.
Go ahead.
I'm going for that. What's it, a Emmy? They give interviewers Emmys or Golden Globes?
TV. I think both of them are TV.
Yeah, I'm trying to get something.
Nobel Peace Prize?
Yeah, Nobel Peace Prize. All right, on to the next question, Destiny. What is your favorite band?
I so love and appreciate you. Thank you
I threw a
so
curveball in there. That was.
I just always wanted somebody to ask me my favorite band. Okay, so my favorite band is Motionless in White. They're a band from Scranton, and they're extremely underrated. They're like a modern-day Slipknot, which Slipknot is another one of my favorite bands. It's my favorite way to get pumped up to my day, just rolling into Kensington with my windows down, blasting Corey Taylor and the Boys.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
You really painted a picture there. I liked it.
Yeah, I did.
Yanni the Greek, we got you on. What do you think? You a Slipknot fan, or is that a little before your time?
Of course, yeah. I mean, for the very few times that I'm ever near a gym or anything like that, or working out, the Slipknot's definitely on the playlist. Get you.
I appreciate it.
Get the blood pumping.
What's your favorite song to work out on?
Don't do that. Don't do that
All
to me.
right.
I don't know. I don't work out. If you can't.
What's
tell.
your favorite song to drink and lose bets to?
Oh, Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up. You didn't think I had that one right, did you?
That's great. I'm just happy we got Yanni the Greek in here. He's feeling part of the group. How do you feel about this Yanni the Greek guy? Last time you came here, he wasn't here, and now we brought in this sports and gambling expert who now does interviews with the Queen of Controversy. What's your take on this?
I think he's doing good. Do you have any questions for me? Do you want? Yeah. Ask away. I'm an open book.
I'm trying to get your message out to people. I'm posting on Facebook, on Twitter, because every word you're saying, people should hang on to. And you got a bunch of resources that I'm putting out there, so I'm just trying to get that message out to the people.
Awesome, Yanni. And Yanni, his family owns Cass Food Distributors. They're a big Greek food distributor in South Jersey. They've actually helped us tremendously. They've donated countless amount of foods to us we do the outreach in Kensington. We're doing something this week. We're in your neck of the woods, and they donated all this food to us. His family's been, I'm sure it's been rough. We took him, we take him for this hour, but I'm hitting him up every day at work when he's working, and they've been so supportive, and they've helped us so much. So I just want to thank his whole family, Cass Food Distributors. They have hearts of gold, man. They're helping us with a lot of stuff. It's pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
But now, back to the questions. I'm trying to get this ME, Destiny.
All right, you want to ask me the tough ones? Go ahead.
Destiny, I'm going to ask you my favorite question of all, by far my favorite question. Hungry for Hope is a part of my heart, a part of Tim's heart. You know, this isn't just a podcast. We became a nonprofit. It's a brand. It's my life story, basically. We're all hungry for hope. We're all about giving hope to those who have lost it or need it most, because that was us. That was me. I would have loved somebody to give me that hope, and I didn't have it at that time. So I ask you with this last question, what does hope mean to you, Destiny?
So hope means to me, it's just keep fighting. So I know what it's like to feel absolutely hopeless and to not absolutely see that light at the end of the tunnel at all. I engage with a very vulnerable population that they're not able to see any type of hope. So to me, hope is just fighting. So if you just breathed today and that's all you did, I'm proud of you. If you're a person that's still struggling and just doing your damn best, sorry, I'm not say damn. If you're doing
say whatever you want.
Okay,
best.
If you're doing your best just to survive and just make it by, I'm really proud of you.
That's awesome, man. And sometimes people need to hear that. I think they need to hear that you're proud of them.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure you deal with this when you're down there in Kensington. For any of our viewers, I tried to describe it last time. Some people just don't know what Kensington is if they're not from this area. It's like a war zone. It's crazy down there. Yeah. We done some of our outreach right next to where your office is, and you're like really in the heart of where these problems are. And I feel like these people, they feel like sometimes I've talked to you about it, they feel forgotten.
Yes, they do.
I've been there, man. I've sat there, not on a corner in Kensington, but in maximum security jail cell, and I felt like the world forgot about me, gave up on me. That does a lot to somebody, thinking everybody gave up on them. You know, when you're going through these hard times, and it's no knock on friends or family, but sometimes, you know, they just got to move on with their life. If you're in a bad time, they can't sit around and, you know, wonder how their friend or family member who's caught up in the life on the streets or in prisons. And sometimes to you going through this hard time, you feel like everybody's forgotten about you. And having somebody like you or anybody just sitting there and like saying, hey, you're not forgotten. That can, I honestly believe that can be the change that can get these people back on the right path.
Yeah. So I have like so many experiences where like I have sat down cross-legged on the ground, sometimes at the park, you know, sometimes if I'm at McPherson Square, also known as Needle Park, which I don't like to refer it to, but like if I'm like sitting, and this happened to me.
And this is in Kensington,
yes,
correct?
Yes. So there's been times where I will sit cross-legged and talk to somebody, and they will be loading up their shot, like, or about to take a shot of dope, and I sit with them and I talk. I feel people out. Some people like their space and privacy, and I respect that. But if I feel somebody out that they want to talk and engage with me, I sit right down on the ground and I talk to them. And somebody said to me recently, and this is not the first time it's been said to me, maybe just a word a little differently, and it really stuck with me. And he said to me, he was like, I really appreciate how you got down just now and like talked to me. He was just like, you know, like, people look at me like a roach. I said, well, you're human, aren't you? You're a human. He was like, well, people see me as a roach. And I said, you're not. You're a human. I'm like, you don't have nothing to be embarrassed about. So, like, that's just something I really, like, took home with me that day.
Yeah, that's, you know, people, how you said you sat there and you have watched people, you know, inject drugs and stuff. I feel like there's different ways people can go about this, but I like what about you, you know, some people would tell them no, like, stop that. And that's not going to work. That's going to, I feel, in my opinion, you know, I'm no expert. In my opinion, that is going to kind of put a void between you guys. Am I right? Like, if you tell them, hey, stop doing drugs, they're bad, they're going to be like, oh, what's this person? You know, because you have no idea what they're going through. But if you say, hey, I'm listening, do your drugs, I'm not going to judge you. Obviously, we don't want these people doing drugs. But if they're in a safe environment, you're there, I feel like just by you accepting them, you can change their mind. They're like, hey, that person didn't judge me. They gave me hope even when I was doing these drugs. I think that sometimes can be what they need to get them on the right path.
Yeah, well, and you also have to think that engagement is a form of early intervention. Just like most people already feel like crap about themselves. They're already judging themselves. They don't need anybody else to do it. So I just, you know, accept them where they're at and just treat them like a person. And, you know, that just engagement is a form of early intervention.
Yeah, and for anybody who's like, oh, how could somebody, let somebody do drugs? I firmly believe by you letting them do that without judging them and also giving them hope, that friendship, that's what these people are missing. You don't think somebody's come along the way and told them, hey, stop doing drugs? They've heard it forever.
Yeah.
If it was that easy, nobody would be doing
Yeah.
drugs. But with somebody that's what I feel like when we do our stuff. We're not down there, we're not beating these people in the head and telling them, stop. We're there just to offer food, clothing. I love to give hugs and talk, man. I talk about the Sixers. I talk about sports. I ask them how their Christmas was.
That's awesome.
And they don't expect it. They think
Yeah.
there's another angle. I got some ulterior motive. And then they realize, no.
Yeah.
And I just know me personally, when I was down and out, man, somebody could have told me whatever and beat it. You're doing wrong. You're doing bad. That would have turned me off from that person.
Yeah, and it does.
But the stuff you're doing, I feel like that little thing. So I just want everybody to know, listening, that you never know what's going to be that one thing that turns somebody's mind and changes their life, man. It's so hard. I've said it before. I wish there was a little bottle I could have with a potion to change somebody's life, to make them stop doing drugs or stop being homeless, whatever. But there isn't.
Well,
No.
there's something to be said about planting the idea in someone's mind and it being their idea and their choice to make a change, right? I think it's something that we talk about on this show a lot. If you don't want to change yourself, everybody else on the outside, you could have the best support system in the world, but if you don't make that change yourself. So that's why I think what you do is so powerful, right? That you're not in there going, yeah, drugs are bad. Oh, well, obviously, here's your medal. You're just kind of showing them that, well, this isn't the only way, and you're having that conversation. So, that's why it's so powerful. I guess there's a lot of negativity, obviously, around this whole subject.
There is.
But I want to change the course a little bit. I'm a positive guy, right?
Okay.
So tell us about kind of one of those situations where you were able to not change somebody's mind, but maybe a success story from kind of your process, that kind of thing. You don't have to use names, anything like that. Just
I have a couple family members that are in recovery.
That's awesome.
And my childhood best friend who's watching today, I'm so proud of her. She just celebrated 1 year. So that is amazing and awesome. So that just makes me proud. Even when I talk to people that I meet in recovery, it just, because sometimes, like I said, I have, unfortunately, I do engage with people that are so down and out, and because our system is so broken, sometimes I feel helpless. And I did have 2 very, very significant losses to drug-related harms that destroyed me. So even when I meet people that are in recovery and I hear their stories, for instance, I talked to somebody who is in recovery for over a year, and they've experienced homelessness for 2 years, and just hearing where they came from and where they are now is just that's something that keeps me going. So I do just like to hear that.
That's
so cool.
You just said, you mentioned people listening. I've been getting, I try to work our social networking during this. We actually have somebody who's listening, calling in. Somebody you're familiar with, I'm familiar with. I can't say enough about this man. We have Father John Sabino calling in. We're going to bring John on.
Is he going to debate with me? I'm scared.
No, we're not doing no debates. Father John. Father John, you there?
Hello. I'm here.
Hi, Father John.
Can you hear me?
We can
Hello,
hear you,
Jen.
man.
Hear you.
Until we don't want to hear
Great
you.
job.
Thank you.
You and Destiny have I kind of almost met Destiny, I guess, through you. If anybody doesn't know Father John Stabino, you have the Comfort Club. When my brother passed away, I reached out to you, and you helped me a lot. And through your Comfort Club for people who have lost loved ones, I came across Destiny, and that's kind of, I guess, how we met.
Yes.
What do you want to say?
That's
what do you
great.
feel
And
about?
I'm so proud of both of you. What you're doing.
Thank you.
Great work.
Father John, where are you at right now? You're in Florida?
I'm in Florida. I'm down in Florida right now.
So what are you doing? We heard about me. We heard about Destiny. I know you've been huge inspiration in my life. What are you doing now with your life, man? Tell us.
I'm working down here in Florida in a treatment center with, and basically I'm working in the sober housing part of it. So it build relationships with guys, get them right out of treatment, and help them in that early stage of recovery when they're going back out and working and doing things that they need to do to learn how to live life without drugs.
That's awesome,
So
man. Anything,
really nice.
we have Destiny on here. Anything you want to ask Destiny? You want to mention the Destiny? It's the Destiny show today. Anything you got to say to her, Father? I know you've been a huge influence in her life, my life, everybody in this area's life.
Yeah. I just want to say how proud I am of Destiny, and we. It takes a lot of people to help in this crisis and this epidemic with drug overdoses, and we do things a little differently, her and I. But unless there were people doing things differently, we wouldn't reach all the people that we're reaching. We reach them in different ways, and I will always support Destiny in anything that she does.
And
we talk about it, and no problem. It's just because we may disagree on some things on a theoretical basis, that's all well and good, because we're all doing the work on the ground, and we don't know who's going to reach that person. And if anything that either of us do may help in the least amount, help preserve somebody's life, that's a day well spent. So I'm so proud of her and you for overcoming, all the things and adversities and still going strong and having a positive attitude.
That's awesome, Father John. You brought up a great point. That's one thing I love about you and Destiny. You guys, it's pretty obvious. Anybody who follows you guys online, you have completely different viewpoints. Even though you're both out there, you're doing so much work for people in the addiction community and all that stuff. But you guys, you butt heads on some topics, but you guys still have such love. You don't see that anymore. In the world we live in, I feel like it's like if you're not on my side, people hate you. If you're not, there's nothing in between. I don't know why. It just makes me sick to my stomach. And you guys have different opinions, different viewpoints, but at the end of the day, you both respect and love each other. And
he was also really there for me during the most difficult times in my life. So, yeah.
Yeah, my dad just commented, and he said Father John Sabino was a godsend.
Yeah,
to my family.
I know my family felt the same way too.
Yeah,
he was supposed to do my wedding.
He was supposed to do your wedding.
Yeah.
He was the first guy I thought about for my brother's funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And, if I got married, he would have been the first guy there too.
Mm-hmm.
There's still time.
Still time. Father John, maybe you'll do my wedding one day.
I hope so. That would be nice.
But
I'd be honored.
We can't. I just want to thank you for all the work you do, Father John Sabino. You're amazing. You don't get enough credit. I know you don't do it for credit, but I just can't say enough. Thank you for everything you've done for Destiny. Thank you for everything you've done for me, my family, for the South Jersey, South Philly community. You're an unsung hero.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anything?
That means a lot to me. It really does.
Yeah, you mean the world to me, Father John. Anything you want to tell the Hungry for Hope viewers before we let you back to that sunny South Florida life you live in?
Just want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk and seeing the two of you doing such good work together. And I just happened to go on Facebook at that time and caught it and said, "Oh, this is great. This is awesome."
Yeah, we normally don't even take phone calls, but
we had to take him.
Yeah, we had to. I saw you. I was like, I got to get Father John on this. Mysterious ways, man. It works in mysterious ways, right? Nothing happens by accident.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'd just like to say, I wish that the world would be a place where we could listen to each other, even if we don't agree with each other.
Yeah.
Because my opinion is different than your opinion doesn't mean one's right and one's wrong. It means we need to be listened to and why we arrived at what we believe. And there's, life is not black and white. There's a lot of gray area in life. And that's why we need to focus on what unites us rather than what divides us. And if Destiny and I can be that for some people who think, oh my God, how could you still be friends with him, or and to stand up for each other and say, why? Because I know that person, I love that person, and I care about that person, and I value their opinion, even if it's different than mine. We don't have that in the world today. And that's how come a lot of people are feeling alienated and unloved and isolate, because they can't find their place in a world that, unless you think like them and do like them, then you don't belong with them. And we have to eliminate that. That's the root cause of addiction and suicide. And then let's get to the root cause and learn how to love people for who they are and where they're at in their life. So they're the important things.
Father John, man, truer words were never spoken. Thank you so much for calling in. Again,
no problem.
Thank you, man. Our chat room's blowing up with people thanking you. We'll let you get out of here. Have a great night, man.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right.
All
I'll finish watching the show.
All right.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Love you guys.
Love you too.
Cheers.
Bye.
Love you, Father John. Destiny. Sorry, I threw a curveball in there. I had Father John.
That was very exciting. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was a little scared. I'm like, is he going to start debating with me now? I'm not prepared for this.
Somebody,
I don't think our
my
show
dad just
can
said,
handle that.
Father John for president, somebody said.
I remember I dropped off a case of the Evzio Narcans, the one that injected.
Yeah. I
I said to the guys in the house, I said, if he chases you with this, please don't blame me. Please don't hold me accountable, please.
Yeah, I just always respect it. Anybody familiar with you two, you realize you guys have different opinions on a lot of things.
Yes, we do.
And me personally, I've learned so much from people who were complete opposite viewpoints of me. If you stand around people all have the same beliefs as you, I feel like you don't learn enough. And you guys have respected each other. It's sad, but it's so rare nowadays to see that respect you guys have for each other with completely different viewpoints.
Yeah, I have nothing but utmost respect for him. Nobody has buried more people than I know than him. Like I said, he was there for me. I've lost my Uncle Christian, who I talked about last time.
Christian, he buried my brother.
Yeah, we were 2 years apart, very, very close. He helped my other uncle in his recovery process, who we're only 5 years apart. He was supposed to do my wedding. He gave Joe's homily. He literally held me over my fiance's casket, and I lost my other significant other 6 months ago in September, and he was also commemorated by the Prodigal House Foundation. So he's just really, really been there for me through a lot of really difficult times.
Yeah, man. There's been people help me also. He's one of the guys who really, thinking of what he did for me during my darkest hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really know much. I just knew the good stuff he was doing. When my brother died, I'd kind of reached out to Father John before. I think he came to a wrestling match of mine in South Philly at Newman Goretti with Breaker Morant, Matt Boyd, great dude. And I just saw, I was attracted to people who were doing good things, people with positive energy.
Yeah.
And as soon as my brother died, I knew right away. I was like, that guy John, he's a priest.
Yeah.
I was like, he needs to be. I called him up. I remember even telling the church where we were having the service at, and they were like, "Well, you're bringing your own priest," and they were like,
"Yeah."
And I was like, "Yeah, I am," and you're not gonna do nothing about it.
Right?
It probably wasn't the right thing to say, but there I am on the Incarnation Church in Mansfield, and that was the beginning of my anger. But he was the only guy who was gonna have my brother's funeral, and nobody was going to stop me from that, because that's how strongly I felt about this guy.
Yeah.
And we went out, we had a private burial, and Father John was one of only hand-selected people we brought to that, and then we actually went out to lunch with him after it, and it was with the closest of closest family members, and Father John was in that table of us, and he had such an impact on my life.
Yeah.
A lot of things I do today, I think of Father John, and trying to make him proud. I know you do too, Dest.
Yeah. Thank you. And he knows what to say too. He doesn't hit you with that nonsense positive. I just learned a new word, toxic positivity. He doesn't do none of that. He just like validates your feelings and is like, yeah, this sucks. So I appreciate that about him too.
Well, and his message was so well said too.
Yeah.
His message is about acceptance. I mean, I think when two parties disagree, it should be looked at as just an opportunity for the two to learn.
Absolutely.
Right? From each other, about each other, whatever it is, and instead of being this hostile, me versus you face-off kind of thing, I think it just needs to be approached differently.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. I appreciate that, and that's why I am so controversial. But I usually tell somebody, like people who are in the recovery community, I word it differently. So I definitely know my audience, and I say, okay, well, my job is to keep people alive until they're ready for recovery, okay?
That's great. You always say that, man. I've been going back listening to our episode with you before, and I don't think people realize them words. You keep people alive,
And they can't recover if they're dead.
Yeah, that's why,
can't do anything if you're dead.
You can't, man. I understand some people are against Narcan, against whatever, man. I'm
Saved
never
my life.
Yeah.
Tim Kudges, big time Tim Kudges wouldn't be here without it.
Yeah.
So I understand people are like, they throw in diabetics have to pay for this, and let's stop.
Let's just stop because I can go into a whole.
Yeah,
It's just going to get me aggravated.
I'm
Because
just saying.
it's not free. We just apply through a lot of
you
state
mentioned that
grants
last time.
and
It's
funding.
not free.
It's not free. We're also not in the middle of the biggest diabetes crisis in our history, also. And if we were, I'm sure we'd be doing the same thing. But we're not. This is
I just
the
hate when
largest
people try to pick
public-
one
Yeah.
oh, you can't do this if you don't do this. No, I can help addicts and I can help I can whatever.
Well, yeah, the highest rate actually is nurse practitioners and union workers. If people want to look that up.
Yeah, people don't realize these people you're saving, and you do the suicide, but I feel like the mental health, the suicide, the addiction, it's all one big circle. And people think, like, we do the outreach in Kensington. We have some people reach out to us. They're like, are you going to help people, like, more in our area? Like, some of the suburbia areas. They're like, oh, you're doing Camden. Are you going to actually come, like, our neighborhood and help the people in our? I was like, what don't they get? The people in Kensington and Camden, they're not born and raised in Camden and Kensington. They're these people from these suburbs, Delco, Montgomery County, South Jersey, Washington Township, Mantua, Cherry Hill, Upper Darby, wherever. I don't care. These people,
Absolutely.
I don't think people realize these are people who are, good students, came from good families, college students, former nurses, you name it.
Yeah, they all have a story.
I just feel like these people, were born, they think these people were, born, with a needle in their arm, homeless on the street of Kensington. They don't realize they have a story. A lot of them are loved ones who just, for whatever reason, man, it might have been some tragedy they dealt with.
Yeah. And I learn the most from them. I usually tell people, I don't know anything if I'm not talking to those people because they're the real experts. They educate me more than any textbooks or data can possibly educate me on.
You said something amazing on the last episode. It was, you didn't ask why. When people did addiction, you said something about you don't ask what, but why?
Why the pain.
Why
the addiction, why the pain.
Why the pain, man? That stuck out to me.
Yeah.
Not why the addiction, right?
Yeah.
Why the pain?
Yeah, that's a quote from Dr. Gabriel Monte.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. I just remembered something.
You're making our show too smart, I think.
He also says this one quote that I love. He's like, when people think I encourage or enable drug use, he's just like, well, I don't promote car accidents, but I still think seatbelts are a good idea.
Yeah,
so I love that quote.
Yeah, I think some people get so caught up in it, and they don't realize.
Yeah, and then you experience even more trauma in your usage.
Absolutely. Even Tim has shared his story when we had you on. Tim, you never just woke up and said one day, "Hey, I'm gonna do heroin in Kensington. That's what I want to do in my life." That wasn't. You didn't just wake up because you're like, "Oh, heroin sounds like fun. Let me go do heroin."
Yeah, it wasn't like, sometimes you just wake up, want to do heroin. No, it doesn't work like that. There's always root causes, underlying issues. I had shit going on. One thing led to another. Next thing you know, you're getting Narcan.
Yeah, people don't realize that. Even me, when I battled with drugs after my brother passed away, but I had no interest. I swear to you, no interest to do drugs. Like, it's the last thing on my mind. But my mind, my brain was, I was so terrified with this person I had become. My mental health was just out of control within months of my brother passing. So first thing I'm thinking, I'm looking in the mirror every day before I started taking all the mirrors down and wouldn't look in any mirror. I didn't recognize this person, so I'm like, how can I be somebody else? So I'm like, oh, drugs make people escape reality. So that's like, I never picked up a drug at that time thinking, oh, let me go do drugs. It was trying to run from my tragedy of my brother dying and my mental health deteriorating. I feel like so many other people go through that. It's not like nobody woke up one day and said they want to go be a drug addict.
No, nobody. And I actually like they think that they're these selfish, self-centered people. It's just like, no, I've had relationships with people that were very loving and compassionate and adored me that were, problematic drug users, but that didn't, alter who they were. Sometimes, but not really. They're still capable of love and loving other people. And I also just want to say, really quick before we end, even if somebody, does not want to stop using drugs, I'm still going to treat them with dignity and respect, because just because you use drugs doesn't mean you're not human still.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love about you so much, man. And somebody else, Janine Kirby, just said, nobody grows up and wants to be an addict.
No.
Every time you say that, or like somebody comments, I keep thinking about those 80s drug commercials. Like, who wants to be an addict when they grow up? Or
Your brain on drugs,
Yeah.
like the egg. Bring back the DARE program. Just say no.
Is DARE still around, Destiny?
No, but I tease my harm reduction team that I work with, so shout out to the harm reduction team.
Shout out.
Love
Shout
you
out
all
to them.
so
Shout
much.
out to Kate Fox. We have a couple shout outs.
We have to just shout
Don
out
Sabino.
my grandma, Tony.
Oh, Tony. No, we got to stop this show, Tony.
Oh.
I just want to say hi to you, to all Destiny's family, letting her come be part of this show without judging her for coming on my crazy podcast. I appreciate it so much. It means so much to me. Thank you guys from the bottom of my heart.
I asked her if she thought your arms were big. She laughed. But I know she does.
Thank you guys for raising such an amazing human being. You guys are winning in life, bringing somebody like this into life.
Thank you.
But where were we before we went down that shout out?
Oh my God. I was talking about, I said, people still, I guess deserve to be treated with dignity and respect, even if they...
I think we were talking about DARE.
Oh, DARE. Yeah, that's where I said shout out to the harm reduction team that I work with. I couldn't be who I am today without my team. So first,
you started mentioning my arms. And
yeah,
now I'm
know. Now we're all gone.
You'll never get them back on track.
Oh, everybody's distracted. But I said to my harm reduction, I'm gonna get everybody DARE T-shirts. I saw them on Amazon. No, there's not. It's still not a thing. But like, it's just like an inside joke we use, because like I said to. I'm still in school. I said to like the college class I was at last night, I said, if DARE was effective, I wouldn't have a job right now. I'm like, clearly it's not, it doesn't work, the whole say no approach. It's kind of like sex. Like, you're not going to tell teenagers, don't have sex. Like, no, that's not going to work. And you're also not going to say, dude, it's awesome, you're going to love it. You're going to say, you really should wait till you're more mature. You should wait. However, if it does come, here's contraceptives and here's ways to stay safe. So kind of the same thing about using substances.
What was the mascot of DARE? Was it a lion or
dog.
was it a dog?
Wasn't it a dog?
I think it was a
Or
dog.
lion.
I thought it was a lion.
Maybe it was a lion.
Bear?
I don't know.
It was
Yanni,
a dog, right?
can
Yeah,
never
it was a
tell.
dog.
Yanni can
It was
look
a
it up.
dog.
He's going to
I
find
know
it.
there's just some old guy that would yell at us. That was our DARE program.
I don't want to knock anybody trying to help people get
I
off
know.
drugs. I don't want to knock them.
Well, I
I mean, I am the queen of controversy.
a little
so.
different
You're the
approach.
queen. We're going to get your crown.
It was just a little different approach than what Destiny does. Just a tad
a little bit
different.
approach.
Just a little different. How are the numbers like from this year, COVID?
So I just want to say, so 20 for Philadelphia, 2017 was the year we saw a peak where we lost 1,100 and I think 2017 people. So we had over 1,200 deaths for that year. COVID, unfortunately, we've broken a record. We are smashing those numbers. That data is not yet released yet, but for the numbers for 2020, we have broken a record, unfortunately.
Got the lion.
Oh, that's
got
the
the
lion.
lion up. It is a lion. Now, look, could be a cat, maybe
yeah,
an
I don't
overgrown
know.
cat.
That's a lot.
I would go lion.
I'm thinking a dog. That's like a Siberian Husky dog, I think they call them.
That's totally.
I think
not
it's dog. No, I think I'm
Yeah,
right. That's definitely a dog.
The logo maker was like
I didn't hear it
Siberian
roar.
Husky.
It was 100% a lion.
Nah, lions don't even live in America. That's weird. No, that's definitely a dog. It was a weird dog, but it's a dog.
I mean, okay, I'm not even gonna argue.
It was definitely a dog.
All right.
It was a dog. Look, I heard it bark when you put the picture up. Jesus Christ.
No, that was just the old guy they had yelling at us.
Oh, come on, Yanni. It was a dog. But anyway, back to more serious stuff. You guys brought up right now. How's your suicide loss group?
Yes.
You were put on hold because of the pandemic. As
It's virtual now.
you were virtual.
Yeah.
And what's the difference you've noticed during this pandemic for it? You've been virtual since what, March or?
Yeah, for a year now. Especially because my group was in the basement of, I still call it Methodist, even I think it's Jefferson now. I'll always call it Methodist in South Philly. It was in the basement because it's a hospital, especially because it's a hospital.
Yeah, you can't.
It's virtually. So yeah, it has been a difference because, like I said, I do this voluntary, so I have the option on whether or not I want to, what kind of relationships I want to have with my members. So I have regular group members that we would all go out for drinks after or go get a bite to eat after because, this is just voluntary, so I can do that. So we're no longer able to do those things, and now it's Zoom and virtual. And because I did take a temporary leave of absence after I lost my significant other in September, and now a lot of my regulars have fallen off now that I've taken the group back, I know they really miss me. I miss them all too. So hopefully we're gonna get back. But I feel bad because it is a different experience virtually. But also I've also gotten feedback from some people that it is more convenient, so they don't have to travel. So I guess it's there's pros and cons.
Yeah, man, this COVID. Even when you said a year, I can't believe it's
it's crazy, right?
it's been a year
yeah.
since I reached out to you about this show.
I know.
And it's nuts, man. This COVID's affected so many people, especially in your work. I feel like even down there in Kensington, when we go out, I was volunteering at the one food, the homeless shelter, giving out food, and during the middle of the pandemic. And the thing I noticed, people think these homeless people are some horrible people. It's people like me,
Yeah.
It was some under the table construction workers who just this pandemic messed things up.
Yeah.
And next thing you know,
really did.
There was even a lot of people with no drug addiction.
Yeah.
They were just people who, for whatever reason, they didn't have that extra money, and when their money got cut off because of the pandemic, their job got cut off. They found themselves, not able to support their family. Absolutely. It was pretty sad down there.
It's horrible. It's a number of different reasons why those numbers are so high, and we can go into another hour talking about why that is, but we've seen such a severe interruption into our drug supply because of the pandemic. Also, it's tainted than ever.
Absolutely. Yeah, we could talk about it all night.
Yeah.
But Desi, you hit on so many great points.
Thank you for asking me what my favorite band is. I appreciate that.
The highlight.
It's like no one ever cared to ask me that before.
Like I said, Desi, you became more like family to our show. We have such appreciation for you and the things you're doing. But, bottom line, do you like country at all?
I don't. I'm sorry.
Toby Keith a little bit?
So that is the only, unfortunately,
Kenny Chesney, maybe?
Not at all. Not even a little bit. I was raised off 80s grunge.
Little
first
Jason
of all.
Aldean, Luke Bryan.
Are
you sure? I'm gonna ask you one more time, and then we're gonna get you.
Listen, I was raised off 80s grunge. My mom said the only time she's ever seen my father cry was when Kurt Cobain died. I was raised off of 80s grunge, Nirvana. I have a big picture of Kurt Cobain in my room. Metallica. I was raised off of. So Black Sabbath. That's what I was raised off of.
Okay, we could hang out.
Nice.
Yeah.
You a big sports fan? You're not a Greeks in the sport. You like
I
boxing.
do other things, Donnie. I'm a human being with depth. You guys.
No, but I like concerts. Obviously, if you haven't realized by now.
That's horrible. The concerts are shut down right now. I
know,
love
it
concerts.
makes me sad. Now I have to have my own concerts in my room or in my car.
Oh my god, sounds like the saddest thing I ever heard. What do you listen to when you? If everybody wants to know, the Queen of Controversy, Destinie Campanella, is having a concert in her car.
On my way to work.
On your way to work.
Yeah.
We got Slipknot on. You said you like Kenny Chesney? Oh, did I hear that?
No.
Am I making things up again?
You are making things up. I said there's nothing like how I like to get started with my day. Is like, this is how I get started. Rolling in, picture it in your head. We were coming off the highway, right off the Allegheny and Castor exit, right then and there. You got your window down a little bit and you're blasting a little Corey Taylor and the Boys. You're just getting ready for your day. You're getting pumped.
That's awesome. We had a picture of your son up. I know he means a lot to you.
Oh
We'll
my
put
God,
that back
yes.
up.
My biggest motivation in my life, and I'm sorry I didn't say him for my most influential because he is my biggest rock and motivation. People tend to ask me, how do you do it? How do you get through it? And there it is right then and
Is that
there.
a Nirvana shirt?
Yes,
Put the
it
Nirvana
is.
shirt on,
Yes, it
yeah.
is, and we match. He is just, I am like putting in that kid's hands. He is my entire universe and the light of my life. I just... You know how I am. Like, you see me post about him. I just, he is just my biggest rock and motivation. I cannot say how much I just love being his mother.
He's a lucky boy to have a mother like you, Destiny.
Thank you so much. I got
There
called
is
a
hope
cool
for
mom.
America's youth.
There is hope. Anything, before we get you out of here, Destiny, anything you want to leave the Hungry for Hope Nation viewers with? This is our 1 year anniversary. We just want to thank everybody that is listening, all the support, our message board's blowing up. Thank you so much. This is bigger than me. This is bigger than Big Time. It's bigger than all of us. But Destiny, anything you want to leave our viewers with?
I just want to say thank you, and I'm just humbled that I've become like family to you guys. That means so much to me. I'm humbled to be here once again for your year anniversary. And if anybody has any questions, concerns related to my support group or harm reduction, not anything else, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'm always happy to support and be available to anybody. So thank you.
Destiny, thank you. Hungry for Hope Nation, thank you. For all of our viewers, I gotta plug my guys at Wire to Wire Sports. They're coming on at 9. They were also on Toxic Radio. They're a sports show. Gene and the guys, they're amazing. So anybody, you like what you heard, you like Toxic Radio, you want to support the Toxic Radio family, please tune in to Wire Sports. They come on at 9. You can check them out on Facebook Live. And Hungry for Hope Nation, Destiny, the Queen of Controversy, Campanella, Big Time Tim Kudges, Yanni the Greek, Reckless Donnie Hart, Hungry for Hope Nation. We're out of here.